Hey, Bon the Builder here. I am currently at Narita Airport, Terminal 1. As you know, whenever you are at an airport, you're definitely going somewhere. So, this episode is quite special for me because today is my last day in Japan. I've been here for 2 years and the time has just flown by, I tell you. Like, it was just yesterday when I was arriving in Japan. I had like so many expectations or preconceived notions about Japan that when I look back, they're so different. So today I'm just going to share my thoughts and just my experience being in Japan, and hopefully you can share some insights if you can relate, or if it's something you're wondering about, maybe you might be going to Japan yourself. You might find out something or learn something from me today. I came to Japan to pursue a master's degree in engineering, particularly in civil engineering, and I'm happy to announce that, of course, I've successfully achieved my objective. But with this objective being achieved comes the time for me to return to my home. So I'm going back to Zambia, and I must say, right now I feel pretty great, I would say. I'm not sure what the future holds, of course, but it has been a really exciting journey in terms of being in Japan. Before coming here, of course, I had certain expectations. I actually thought Japan was all about just anime and characters. Well, I did find anime and characters, and it's a very big part of the culture here. And I was able to relate with that because I always watch anime every weekend, and I need to catch episodes of either One Piece or Solo Leveling, especially now that it's been really hot. But my point is, when I was coming here, I just expected this place would be mostly about anime and all that, but I ended up learning that the culture is actually much deeper. There's more to learn. You know, when you see things on TV and like on Hollywood or movies, you have certain thoughts or preconceptions about a place. So I've actually grown to love Japan. I feel like it's a second home for me. And one of the main reasons that is because of the people, I would say. Like, I feel like the whole time I've been here, like I had a signboard on top which was saying, "This is the son of the president of Zambia" or something. Like the way everyone just treated me with so much respect and just like without much like expectations, I would say. With just that respect was very good. People seem to have a lot of mutual respect for one another, and that really plays a big role in how they treat one another, and even the way they treat guests. I would say my most favorite thing I would say is that I got to travel. So as I'm leaving right now, I can safely say I have been to all of the four main islands of Japan. That's like the big islands. That's like Hokkaido and the main one and all that. And I've also been to Okinawa, which was pretty awesome also. So I traveled around the country, explored. The transport network is very good. And there's levels of transport for everyone. Like if you want to fly, you fly. If you want to get a train, you get a train. If you want to get a bus, you get a bus. And if you want to drive, you can drive. So I really enjoyed my travel experiences, and I think a lot of my videos is me traveling. And then one thing I noticed as I traveled also is that in Japan they celebrate other cultures also, not just like Japanese culture. Okay, they're like festivals which are held. There's one video which I did about the Jamaican festival. They're just celebrating like Jamaica and also the Caribbean islands and all of that. And then there was also a Latin fest because in Japan there are lots of Brazilians also. So anyway, there are lots of different types of people from different nationalities here, but I like that they also have like celebrations for different type of events. That was quite interesting. So I found it surprising, or I didn't expect to find Japanese like celebration of other cultures in Japan. So one of my favorite memories, I guess, would be also sumo. I went for a sumo match, a sumo tournament, and I was able to enjoy and see, because ever since I was growing up, I always used to hear Yokozuna and just see these sumo wrestlers. And then seeing them in person was really awesome for me. Another thing I really enjoyed was, well, let me not say I enjoyed the process, but I enjoyed climbing Mount Fuji, because that was like a very big thing for me, which I never thought in my entire life I would be trying to do. So it was quite challenging. And the reward of finally reaching the top and being able to say and share like this, like, oh, I've climbed Mount Fuji, is really, really awesome. So I climbed Mount Fuji with some friends, and I think that made it much easier, I would say, and more interesting. So please watch that video also. That's one of my favorite videos, because I explain the entire process of climbing Mount Fuji and what I was going through. My second most favorite thing in Japan was the food. Guys, the food, oh, everything is almost delicious, which was quite dangerous, because like I was eating so many different things. But surprisingly, despite eating all this food, I lost weight here. So aside from like exercising, I walked a lot. There are lots of old people here who walk and hike, and they keep busy, which is something I found quite impressive. So it's something I wish to emulate in the future and just continue being active. When I got here, I was very fat. I won't show you the picture because I'm quite embarrassed about it. But now I am like this. So I actually lost about, I would say, 35 kgs. Imagine that, 35 kgs. So Japan really helped me lose the weight which I'd been trying to lose for a very long time. So I think it reached the point where now I've gotten like attached to Japanese food, I would say. So I don't know what it would be like when I go back home in terms of like the type of food that I'll be eating. I know I'll probably going to miss like the food here, like the okonomiyaki, and also like especially yakitori. So I like the yakitori, yakiniku. So yaki is just like grilled, like barbecue, and I really love that. I love such food, and one concept I found interesting was like shabu shabu restaurants. So it's shabu shabu because of the sound. So what happens is you cook your own dish, but then the thing is when you put the food in the dish, it goes like shh, and apparently that sound is what ended up creating that name shabu shabu, like this shabu shabu shabu. So anyway, I like that experience. It was really great in terms of that type of restaurant. So many times when I travel, I would meet a lot of international people. And that's one thing about Japan. There are so many tourists and international people. In fact, I would say I spent most of my time speaking to foreigners, which is strange, right? Because you're in Japan. But anyway, I ended up making friends with so many different types of people. Also, people who were just visiting, or people who were just like passing through Japan, and also other students, and just people who work here. And it was quite an interesting experience finding out how other people are coping with certain issues here. One thing that surprised me though, or one thing that was common from people I spoke to, is that Japan tends to have that, well, I'd say loneliness. A lot of people seem to be lonely here based on, this is foreigners by the way, like the people that I have met who live here and have been here for at least a year or more. People tend to be a bit lonely, I would say. So I think maybe it's because people respect each other so much that they keep to themselves. It ends up being a situation where people are kind of disconnected, I would say. People are not in your business. Of course, other people have different experiences, but this is based on my experiences and the people I've talked to and what I've experienced. So, in terms of studying in Japan, of course, the first challenge I faced was the language. So, my studies were in English, but the moment I stepped out of school, everyone speaks Japanese. So I had to take some Japanese classes and learn Japanese and just be able to get by in my day to day life. So learning Japanese was quite difficult for me, but I've grown to appreciate the language, and hopefully in future I'll improve. My Japanese is nowhere near where it should be. I feel like I should have at least taken maybe the N5 test, which is like the first level. But anyway, The language was a bit of a challenge at first. So something that someone might first consider as a challenge would be, what about your skin color, right? But I found this place to be very accepting. I think maybe because they have so many tourists of different nationalities coming here. But I never really felt like people were maybe judging me based on just appearance. Like sometimes people would like just approach me and would talk, especially those who can try to like say speak English. I know a lot of people were kind of afraid to speak English, but when they warm up to you, they kind of let their English out. And I speak broken Japanese. And so when a Japanese person speaks, say, broken English, it's normal to me. I understand it. Like, I don't expect Japanese people to speak like very fluent English, okay? It's the same way they don't expect me to speak very fluent Japanese. So it's kind of that middle point where you speak Japanglish. That's what I call it, Japanglish. So you'll be speaking a bit of Japanese, like English with a bit of Japanese, and they'll be speaking some Japanese with a bit of English. And you're able to communicate. So after language, the next thing that was a challenge, I would say, was just getting set up in terms of like the systems here, in terms of opening an account and all that. Thank God I had like a tutor, a Japanese person who was able to assist me with everything. But I can only imagine if I was doing it alone, it might have been very challenging. So, about studying, if you are interested in, say, studying in Japan, you must be ready to, first of all, learn the language and also just adapt to the cultural differences. Now, in Japan, things are a certain way, and I don't think it's good if you come and you try to say change things. Like you have to accept and take the culture as it is, and that's the whole point of say traveling and learning different cultures. So I would encourage you to come to Japan. It's a good place for learning, especially when it comes to technology, infrastructure, disaster preparedness, mitigation, and all of that. A lot of research goes on here. A lot of research is funded because Japan is always competing with like America, Germany, and all those. They're trying to always be at the top in everything they do, whether it's research, education, or even sport. So I would say Japan is a good place to come and learn, whether you're pursuing your undergrad or your master's or your PhD. So it's really up to you in terms of your preference. I noticed that some of my friends actually got jobs afterwards. So one thing that you would need if you're coming to Japan, you have to also think about your after education. Like if you're going to get a job, from the moment you get here, you have to like learn your Japanese because Japanese is one of the key requirements for any job that you're going to get in Japan. So even if you get your PhD, if you can't speak Japanese, you're pretty much going to be quite useless. So Japanese language is a very important skill to have aside from your degree and all that. And then now about cultural experiences. So in the area where I was living, which was like Gifu, which is in the middle of Japan, like right above Nagoya, Gifu is a quiet place, I would say, but very good, especially for a student and someone who doesn't like a lot of noise and all of that. So one of my first cultural experiences was going for the cormorant fishing, which they call ukai. So what they do is they have special birds, cormorants, which they use to fish. So they tie some string around their neck, and then as the birds catch the fish gets trapped on the neck, and then they get to pull it. They pull the bird out of the water and then remove the fish. So the fish is not really damaged. At most, it might have a scar from the beak, and that fish is very expensive. So that's like a very long standing tradition, and that fish is sent to the emperor. Very expensive fish and quite tasty. So the ukai was the first cultural experience I'd say I had, and it was really great to see how they've kept such a tradition for so long. And that's one thing I've noticed here. They really record in terms of the traditions, the cultures, there's history. So you can follow, you can say, they'll tell you this tradition started so long ago and it was done like this and like that. And that's part of the culture. So the culture is very strong. Of course, there are influences from, say, the Western world and all that now. But you can trace the culture in terms of the traditions that they've had long before their interactions with the West. So what's next for me? So I'm going back home, back to Zambia. I look forward to more travel, more adventures, and more YouTube videos, of course. I won't stop the channel, but I don't know what the future holds. I just look forward to it. And I'm hoping you can join me on this journey also. So if you're subscribed, please stay subscribed, keep watching my videos. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe and watch my videos. Do post your comments. I love to hear from people. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the future. You have to look forward to the future always. That's the only thing you can do, really. So I don't think this video would be complete if I didn't say thank you to all my professors, my friends, and the people that I met, because they gave me such unique and rich experiences. And I really do appreciate. And I don't know if I'm ever coming back to Japan, but maybe we'll see. You never know what the future holds. I know other people would be crying, saying, "Oh, going back home, going to miss Japan so much." I mean, I will miss it, but I'm looking forward to the future. So, as I said, guys, please continue following my journey. Please post your comments. Have you ever lived abroad, or what it was like for you going back home, or your first experience when you were living abroad, like going abroad? What your expectations were? So that's all for me. I need to go and check in and head back home to Zambia. So bye bye Japan, bye bye guys. See you in the next episode.